Welcome to the School District of Osceola County's regularly scheduled board meeting for Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. Tonight we'll have our invocation by Pastora Rudy Reyes from Nacion de Fe Church in Kissimmee. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Tim Burnett, our Executive Director of CTE. With school being back in session, we are back to having our student performers for our national anthem. We'll have a student ensemble from St. Cloud Middle School. Mission statement will be read by John Boyd, our Executive Director of Government, Labor, and Relations. Our interpretation services will be read by Ivani Garcia, our Coordinator of Multicultural Department. And with that, I ask you to please stand. Mr. Arvidas.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. Thank you. Father God, I thank you for this time, for this moment that you have allowed us to be here today. Father God, I thank you for every single leader that is here, that has taken the time to be here, and that is willingful and is working towards our children and our generations. Father God, I ask you for your wisdom, for you to give us the strength and the wisdom to passionately do what you call us to do, and is to govern and to do things right for our community, for our churches, for our children, but above all, the generations that are stepping up and coming up. I thank you for this time because it's allowed us to discuss important matters that involve our children. Thank you for this time and for this moment. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One, two, three, one, play.
The mission of the School District of Osceola County is inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
Good afternoon, my name is Ivani Garcia and I am here to provide interpretation services. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ivani Garcia y estoy aquí para proveer servicios de interpretación.
Thank you. With that, we're on to positive comments. Dr. Chanoff.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
it was a great opening to the school year. And none of that would be possible without teachers that create the conditions for accepting students into their classrooms. And there's so many different layers to thank and to recognize for the first day of school. But I think at the end of the day, where the rubber meets the road for our district is in educating children. And that means ensuring that the students are in front of teachers that can go ahead and set those expectations the first day and dive right into instruction and meaningful learning experiences that make us the preferred choice in Osceola County. And so because of that, while there are so many people that can be thanked, I want to use this opportunity to thank our teachers for the connections that they've already made with their students. And I'm just very, very grateful. Secondly, and hopefully I don't steal Mr. Ramsey's thunder, the opportunity to train with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office last week on active assailant was life-changing. To be able to run down a hallway in a active shooter scenario and have to make those quick second, half-second decisions, split-second decisions, learning how to go ahead and do the 45-90 entry into the room, and then be able to go through their simulator and go out to their range and really kind of take in the entire experience of what active assailant training is all about, gave me new respect for what all of our deputies, what all of our officers are there in our schools to do, and that is life safety. So thank you very much for that opportunity, and I was privileged to experience that with Board Member Ramsey, and it was just a joy. Thank you.
Mr. Mondes?
Thank you. I also want to echo the first day of school. It's just really, and that was a great idea. I don't know whose idea it was for everyone to wear the same blue shirts across the entire district to really feel like you're one family. So kudos to whoever thought of that idea. I guess if it was a collaborative effort, it was a collaborative effort, but it was very effective. And so I just want to let them know also that there really is a dedication too. You know, it's not like, okay, one school is more important than the other. When I saw staff go out at 5 o'clock in the morning to the transportation centers, they went out to the different ones too. I think they went out to one in St. Cloud and the one on Horizon, and just really went out there and letting the bus drivers know that we cared. And as a matter of fact, not only just the bus drivers that are leaving, as employees were coming in, we're waving to them too. So it's like, wait, you know, it just really just creating that sense of family that the school district is made up of different employees of different categoricals, which will vote on their contracts today too. But it really takes a village to make this thing go forward. And the fact that everyone is cheering for each other, everybody's got each other's back, I really feel that really shift in the culture and that mindset. And I really appreciate your leadership, Dr. Shanoff, for doing that. But then I went to Mill Creek Avenue in the morning for elementary school. Lord, I did that car drop off for just 2 hours, and that line was so long, and I was like, and people weren't stopping where they were supposed to stop. They had to go all the way, and it was heartbreaking because I was with Lisa, and she was there too, right? And this one kid, a kindergartner, I don't want to say who or anything because they're little babies, you know, and one of them cried, and Mama had to get out of the car and like didn't want to go, and I don't know what to do. I'm like, Lisa, how can this baby's crying right in front of me, you know? And these parents go through that, and so Lisa was there, she consoled the baby, and somebody else came in, and so, you know, this is more than just a learning institution. You know, we really are an extension of the family. So to actually see that firsthand, and you know, and I had to complain a little bit, there was no canopy. I was like, man, I was just sweating in the morning just for like an hour, and I was like in the morning. So I don't know how the teachers do it in the afternoon every single day. So I'm like, you know, so I talked to Dave about it. We better have canopies at every drop-off. You know? I can't do it for one day. That's not enough. So I mean, I'm only one board member. The rest of the board has to agree. But man, you know, I was there for an hour and I'm already dying. So I really do appreciate what they do. CT again, you know, I got an invite from Mr. Burdett. We went to the Kennedy Space Center, and there were other school districts that were signing a memorandum of understanding to create a space academy. It's just an early first step. You know, we have to do a whole bunch of other things, but just the fact that the school district is really expanding its horizons, because you know the reality is they said that the Space Academy is not just for astronauts anymore. There's a lot of logistics, there's payload, there's manufacturing, and there's even regular office jobs. It's not just always in the STEM fields. So the fact that, they are really being serious about working together with us to prepare our students for the jobs of the future, and Brevard County is right there. It's not very far. As a matter of fact, we got some folks that live in Brevard and work here. So I'm really excited about the direction. And the last thing I'll say is, again, it's nice to see the teachers in here back again, and the fact is, they weren't here before, and I was told by a couple folks that they appreciate the working relationship we have with the new administration. And so, but Ms. Moody, it's nice to see you here again. And like I said, hey, sometimes you can come and say good things too. We don't always have to yell at us on the dais. So, I really appreciate the fact that we're really making a strong effort to make everything work for our kids. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osceola.
Yeah, the 8,000 employees of the district are going to be showered in praise tonight, I'm sure, and it's well deserved. There's a ton of praise that people have earned already in the preparation for a day like yesterday, that first day of school, including our superintendent. I'm sure you're also going to be praised pretty well throughout. It was a very successful first day, the best first day since my election in 2020, and by far. It's a gargantuan effort, and all of you deserve a very big thank you, so thank you. I want to thank also the community at large and the parents, the taxpayers, because they make all of this possible. At the end of the day, we're here to serve the community. We're here for the kids of this community, and you guys entrust us with your children. And that's a tremendous thing. You're the reason that public school exists and that public institutions like this can be existent. So I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for your commitment and for your effort and for your trust in us. That faith is pretty strong. And every day we're going to try, at least for the next several months that I am still here, I'm going to make sure that we're fulfilling our duty, our constitutional duty to you as a community to educate your children in a safe manner. So thank you for your trust and your appreciation and all of your help in making a day like today possible. So thank you.
I want to say I thoroughly enjoyed day one as well. I was out at St. Cloud Middle School helping with their car rider line in the morning, and seeing those even sixth graders coming onto campus, and you could tell the looks on their faces of this is something new and different and a little overwhelming. And a few of them who had parents walking them up, and the parents are like, "Oh, I think I just embarrassed my kid." Yeah, you did, and it's okay. They'll still appreciate it one day. But it was really great, and I have to say I agree with the day one shirts. I loved seeing even at Publix after the work day, people in their day one shirts and just knowing they're a part of our district family because they had them on. I also want to give a huge shout out to Dave Sharma and our facilities team for the work that they've had to do over the summer and over the last year in getting 2 new schools ready for the first day of school, for getting the renovations at the other schools, Neo City Academy, all of it. I heard through the grapevine that Neo City Academy's driveway was worked on until 2 in the morning the night before school in order to make sure it was safe for our car riders, and I got to experience it myself as I dropped off my 2 kids at Neo City. And I had people reaching out to me from our schools that experienced these renovations and these additions and the new schools saying how much they appreciated Dave and his team and just the amount of time that they take to be there for those schools and for the administrators and for the teachers to make sure that everything's going to run smoothly on day one and that they don't have any concerns of are we going to have a facility that's ready and safe for our students. So I just really know that that was a heavy lift and it's very much appreciated. And I know it's not slowing down because we've got a lot of other facilities under construction right now too. I also want to give a shout out to Miss Sarah Graber. She is our Chief Financial Officer, and right now she is holding the position of Chair of the K-12 Chief Financial and Business Officers in the state of Florida and has become a true asset to the Florida Department of Education because of her expertise and her leadership in this field, and I couldn't agree more with that. I think she's a great asset to Osceola County, and I just wanted to make sure that others know what a great CFO we have here amongst us.
Thank you so much. happening. So my praises start before school. The week before, a couple days before, I attended the back to school night at Flora Ridge Elementary. And I loved seeing everyone there, just kind of learning what are some of the different clubs and business leaders that are within our schools to be able to serve the community. So I really wanted to appreciate them and just say thank you so much to the Flora Ridge team for inviting me to that. Of course, back to school. I think we all need to mention how incredible it was. I was very impressed, and I've already kind of had those private conversations with the team, but I do think that we do need to repeat it 5 or 6 times because it was truly, truly an impressive back to school. I spent my morning at Knight's Point. I got there way too early, and Miss Hellinger saw me floundering around. I didn't know where to go. Thank you so much for leading me to the right direction. But it was really great just to kind of experience for however long I was there, the little ones going to the brand new school and parents just, arriving and the staff with their shirts, everybody just ready for day one. So just all around Team Osceola, fantastic day one. You should be proud of yourself. If this is day one, I cannot wait to see what we can do for the rest of the year. So well done. And I also wanted to just thank United Airlines is donating some book bags to our schools, to Kissimmee Elementary. I wanted to give them a shout out for just thinking of us and, being great partners in that way. And team, do you know that we have an Olympian that came? Did you know we have an Olympian bronze winner? So we just want to give a shout out to Victor Montalvo. He went to Gateway. Go Panthers. We are so proud of your representation in Paris. And if you want to come back home and do whatever, we welcome an Olympian always. So thank you very much and happy birthday, Sarah. I'm done. Thank you.
Mr. Ramsey.
Well, since 3 of them's already took some of my thunder, I was going to talk about. Happy birthday, Sarah. But I was able to attend 6 different open houses last week, 2 high school, 2 middle, and 2 elementary school. And, shout out to Dr. Shanoff. Talking to a lot of teachers, this year the culture is something different. They say it's a different feel. Every open house I went to was packed, and talking to administrators and teachers, they've never seen it that full before. So thank you, Dr. Shanoff, for what you do and the rest of the team. I'd like to thank Osceola County Sheriff's Office. That was an eye-opening experience to get to spend the day with them. And I would put our SROs up against anybody's SROs any day of the week. We've got some really good ones. And one thing Dr. Shanoff did leave off is I did get to try to handcuff him, but and I do have a video if anybody wants to see it.
All right, thank you. A lot of positive happening in Osceola right now. With that, we are moving on to our fine arts moment. It is students from the jazz band at OXA performing tonight. Again, so excited to have our students back performing for us.
Very excited to announce the appointments of several new administrators that is getting promoted as well. First one is Jacqueline Miglianico to be the principal of Thacker Avenue Elementary School for International Studies. Jackie Miglianico has held the following positions in Celebration High: teacher, counselor, IB counselor, guidance director, IB coordinator, and assistant principal. She received a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in counselor education from the University of Central Florida, and a master's degree in ed leadership from the American College of Education.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Castillo, a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
School board members, Dr. Shanoff, Dr. Clayton, and Dr. Allen, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. As a proud mother and aunt of Osceola County students, I promise to always consider whether the decisions I am making are ones I would want for my own sons, nieces, and nephews. The list of individuals that have impacted my career is long, but I would be amiss if I didn't thank a few of them that got me to this point. Would like to thank Evelitha Almeida Garcia for giving a chance to a fresh out of college grad student many years ago. Dr. Reinhardt and Mr. Lisby for encouraging me to begin my path to ed leadership. Connor Gilbert for taking me on as one of his APs and for always lending his ear even to this day. Dr. Evans for her mentorship through my API years and principalship journey. To Chris Todd and the CHS admin team for your friendship and teamwork. In less than a year, we became an incredible team that we'll certainly miss being a part of. To all my past and current CHS colleagues and community, I want to thank you for 20 wonderful years. And finally, I must thank those dearest to me. My mom is here this evening. She's the ultimate cheerleader, of course. I need to thank her for instilling the value of an education in me and for her endless support. To my husband, Chris, and my sons, Joseph and Nicholas, who know the sacrifice my dedication means more than anyone. Thank you for your endless love, for keeping me grounded and being my calming force. I wouldn't be me without you. To the Thacker staff and community, I am thrilled to begin working with you and to serve as your leader. I look forward to witnessing all the wonderful achievements I know our students will make this year and for years to come. Thank you again, Dr. Shanoff and school board members.
Our next appointment tonight is Marcos Dorado to be the new assistant principal at Celebration High School. Marcos Dorado has held following positions: teacher at North Lawrence Regional School District in New Jersey, and teacher and dean at Tohoku-Kalaiga High. He received his bachelor's degree in Spanish education from East Stroudsburg University and a master's degree in educational leadership and administration from Seton Hall University.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Arroyo, a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
Good evening. The famous quote states that it's not about the destination but the journey. At the risk of enraging Mr. Ralph Waldo Emerson, I would like to add to this quote and say that it's not about the destination, it's not about the journey, but it's about the people that you meet within the journey. All of us can point to the one person who inspired us to be better, whether it was a parent, teacher, friend, or just a stranger who gave us words of encouragement. I, on the other hand, count myself lucky, because there wasn't just one person who helped me get here, but a whole group of people. First in that group are those who might not know me very well, or who have only had a brief conversation with me, but have taken a chance on me with an assistant principal position. Board of Education members, Dr. Shanoff, district leadership, thank you for putting your faith in me. It truly means a lot for you to trust me with the education of our children and our students. Then there are those who know me. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they know me. Mr. Arscott, thank you for always being tough but fair, and for always teaching me when the opportunity arose. Also, thank you for always treating me like a person and not just an employee. To Ms. Parker, thank you for being you. You are the heart and soul of Toho, and I count myself lucky to know you. To our APs, Dr. Harris, Dr. Casado, Dr. Lacer, Mr. Glassburn, thank you for everything you have taught me, and for taking every opportunity to make me better. To my Dean team, Morales, Chevres, Need, Shu, and Rivera, thank you for becoming family and being there for me through thin, thick, good, or bad. I'm going to miss you guys. To Mr. Todd and Mr. Fenn, I know we'll be working together at Celebration High, but thank you for always answering all questions I had when we worked together at Toho, and for always being patient with me. Also, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to also thank everyone at Toho for welcoming me and helping me. I'd also like to thank my mother and my father, who gave me the values that have brought me here today. There is another quote that I like. It says, "Behind every great man, there isn't a woman. She's beside him. She's with him, not behind him." This is especially true for me. Amanda, my life began with the day that I met you. And since then, with you by my side, we have taken on every challenge head on. You're my air, my water, my everything. Thank you for being my wife and my best friend. Thank you for being my rock and always supporting my crazy ideas. Thank you for making me a father by giving me those two little ones right there. Thank you for being you and for loving me like you do. Thank you everyone for the opportunity and for your time. God bless.
Our last appointment this evening is Orville Watson, our new coordinator of transportation. Orville Watson has held the following positions: Director of Training for New York City Department of Transportation, Safety and Loss Prevention Analyst for Orange County Utilities, Safety Administrator at Orange County Utilities, and Safety and Compliance Supervisor for the Osceola School District's Transportation Department. He received a bachelor's degree in occupational safety and health from Columbia Southern University.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Castillo, a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, members of the board, Dr. Shanoff, Dr. Alan Scott, Noble, who gave me the opportunity to interview for this position. And you're looking at a person who, when I graduated high school, I had two individuals sign my yearbook, if you remember yearbooks back then, because I was such an introvert. But over the years, I've grown and been mentored by so many people. And I will tell you, I've spent the last 40 years in my service to government. So I've been 40 years in government. I know I don't look that old, but trust me, I have dedicated my life to service. And when I came here to this organization, I really didn't know what to expect, but I have developed a love and a passion for my job. I love my job. I truly love what I do. And I will tell you, I've heard that people don't know how much you know, care how much you know, until they know how much you care. And I truly love what I do. And I want to just thank my team. The transportation team is amazing. The director, Randy Wheeler, Adriana Fracasso, and just a team of individuals that I work with. They have mentored me in this role, and I really, really appreciate that. I look forward to the challenges and to the victories that we will share here in transportation. And I just want to thank my wife, Judy Ann, who has always supported me. And I will tell you, Judy sometimes don't see me a whole lot, but she knows where I am and she knows what I'm doing, and she supports me all the way. And my dad and my mom surprised me. They showed up here, and I will tell you, many times people tell me I am just like my dad. And I take that as a privilege and a compliment because my dad is my hero. And I love that man to death. And I just thank you guys for coming. And I wanted to share one thing before I leave. I went to get something to eat this afternoon, and I pulled up to the little eatery place, and I forgot my wallet. I'm like, oh man, I forgot my wallet. I guess I won't eat today. So I'm going back to my car, and I remember, I got emergency cash in the car. So I found some cash, and I went back into the eatery place. And as soon as I walked through the door, I heard claps. People were clapping. I'm like, who in the world? What is going on here? And I looked to my left, and who did I see at the table? Dave Sherman was sitting there, and he was just saying, well, Dave, thank you very much. He wasn't even willing to pay for my lunch if I didn't have my lunch. But thank you for the faith, and I look forward to working with the team. Thank you very much.
Good job, Mom and Dad. Good job, Sharma, for buying lunch.
So we've got one transfer. Dr. Eugenio Rolando is moving from the principal of Thacker Avenue Elementary. She'll now be the assistant principal at Osceola County School.
Thank you. With that, we are recessing our meeting for our public hearing for the 2024 rulemaking cycle A with Mr. Lloyd. If you were here for celebrations, you are welcome to leave now. Congratulations again. Thank you for helping us start tonight off on such a high note.
Alrighty. Good evening, school board members. We have several changes to bring to you for proposed revisions to the school board rules, 4 proposed new school board rules, and the remainder being revisions to existing policy. The first proposed new school board rule would be 3.81 school chaplains. This policy would create a new policy to establish the volunteer school chaplain program per section 1012.461 Florida statutes. This program is optional, but the policy is required if the school board approves the program. Procedures related to this policy would be created with community input. Rule 4.501 Patriotic Organizations creates new policy to address the authorizations of specific patriotic organizations per section 1001.433 Florida statutes. Rule 5.23 High School Equivalency Program and Examination creates the new policy to establish the eligibility criteria for students to elect the high school equivalency program and education option. Rule 6.41 Employee Discipline creates a new policy per section 1006.07 paragraph 6G that clarifies existing progressive discipline procedures to address safety violations by employees pursuant to House Bill 1473. And specifically in paragraph 4C of this proposed policy, it does honor our existing collective bargaining agreements and the progressive discipline that they have within them. Rule 2.24, collective bargaining agreements, would amend this existing policy to add new paragraph 1 to list items that state law now exempts from collective bargaining within section 1012.22, which was part of the deregulation bill, Senate Bill 7002. Rule 3.40, Safe and Secure Schools, does quite a number of things. It revises the existing policy to comply with House Bill 1473 2024 legislative session, revises paragraph 4A to require Alyssa's alert. That would be the panic button that we have in our schools already. It would it would require integration within local emergency policies and procedures in consultation with the County 911 Authority and Local Emergency Management Office. It would revise paragraph 4B to require charter school input access to the Florida Safe Schools Assessment Tool, also known as FASAT. Revises paragraph 9A2 to clarify procedures for closing and locking gates, doors, and access points on school sites, to require notice to students within the first 10 school days of the safest areas to shelter in classrooms, and to require all classrooms to be locked when students are present. It revises paragraph 10 to require unannounced school inspections and quarterly reports of noncompliance with state school safety laws or rules to the superintendent and the school board. Revises paragraph 12C to require that any student It requires any student ID card issued by a public school to students in grades 6 through 12 must include the telephone numbers for national or statewide crisis and suicide hotlines and text lines. Rule 4.13, Dropout Prevention Program, adds paragraph 2 to require specific parental notification before placement of a student in a dropout prevention and academic intervention program. Rule 4.22 revises paragraph 5F to clarify the term pornographic as it is defined or prohibited under section 847.012 Florida statutes. Revises paragraph 7 to clarify that per section 1006.28 2A2 Florida statutes, an Osceola County resident who is not the parent or guardian of a student with access to school district materials may not object to more than one material per month. And this is in Chapter 2024-101, House Bill 1285, Education. This proposed set of revisions to this rule also revises paragraph 7C2 to clarify that any material that is not a course material required by section 1003.46 or 1003.42 Florida statutes challenged based on being pornographic or prohibited by section 847.012 Florida statutes or depicting or describing sexual conduct as defined in section 847.00119 Florida statutes must be removed within 5 school days after receiving the objection and remain unavailable to students of that school until the objection is resolved. Rule 5.141, School Choice, revises paragraph 10A1 to clarify student behavior expectations and disciplinary consequences for the purpose of revocation of choice assignments. Rule 5.30, Student Control, revises paragraph 2A to require specific parental notifications for student suspensions. Adds paragraph 2E to require specific parental notification before placement of a student in a dropout prevention and academic intervention program. Rule 5.80, Athletics, adds paragraph 15 to include the school district's name, image, and likeness policy in accordance with policy 9.9 of the Florida High School Athletics Association, FHSAA. Rule 6.11, Employment Defined, revises paragraph 7B3B to require the approval of the superintendent or superintendent's designee and/or statement within the employee's job description for full-time remote work. Rule 6.145, Substitute Teachers, adds paragraph 2 and revises paragraph 3 to distinguish between employment requirements for short-term versus long-term substitute teachers. Rule 8.10, Safety, adds paragraph E to include state requirements for reporting violations of local, state, and federal safety laws and establishing employee progressive discipline procedures for such violations. 8.603, Artificial Intelligence Acceptable Use, revises paragraph 1E to establish requirements for the use of grant funds for artificial intelligence platforms per section 1002.31 Florida statutes and revises the citations for this rule. Last but not least, the slate of changes within the Code of Student Conduct, which is, as a document by itself, a strike-all amendment to the existing Code of Student Conduct that replaces existing policy in the document entirely and includes revisions to comply with state and federal law and to provide district-wide consistency. There's a revision to page 1 to reflect the school year, and there is a revision to the matrix of infractions and possible consequences with a strike-all amendment for the existing policy to replace it entirely with the new matrix of infractions and possible consequences. At this time, I would pause for the purpose of an opportunity for public comment during this public hearing on any of these rule changes as they are proposed. And then I would ask the board for their action on any or all of the rules.
I do have public comment, Mr. David Williamson. Please remember to state your name and address. You only have 3 minutes.
Sorry.
That's okay, no worries. I need a little more room than most folks. Thank you, David Williamson, 83 Geneva Drive, Oviedo. I'm a member of clergy, board member of the Interfaith Council in Central Florida, but I'm here today on behalf of the Central Florida Free Thought Community, an organization with representation in Osceola. Our organization, along with a coalition of faith and non-faith organizations, oppose the proposed chaplain policy because students are free to access religious and spiritual leaders outside of school. Allowing chaplains who aren't required to have any training whatsoever to provide critical services will not only endanger students, but also wastes educational resources and creates significant legal liability for public schools. Chaplains and other faith leaders understand that chaplains don't belong in public schools. I'll leave you with a letter as I walk away, signed by more than 300 chaplains in opposition to these types of bills and policies. The courts have repeatedly ruled that public schools cannot invite religious leaders onto campus to engage in religious activities during school time. State law, only the second in the nation, will not diminish any constitutional concerns. You could be in litigation for any number of reasons, but the most basic might be that you didn't allow someone to serve as a chaplain and they take you to court, or because you did allow someone into the schools that someone else didn't like. Of note, in your policy, Roman numeral 2, letter D, numbers 2 and 3, you indicate that proselytizing is not permitted, but you undermine that very prohibition by giving chaplains a free pass to counsel and care in ways consistent with their convictions. It's not possible to give chaplains the freedom to serve those they choose and expect them to fairly serve all in the community, some of whom they would disparage or preach against outside of school. Will there be a non-discrimination agreement? How can that be enforced if it conflicts with the chaplain's own organizational requirements for clergy? A chaplain could say that praying over a student, asking them to attend their church, or repenting for not being a certain way is consistent with their beliefs. What would you do? Because all of that would be proselytizing, coercive, and a violation of the rights of the students and parents. For those reasons and more, I have no time to explain all of them today, but it's just 3 minutes. But we oppose the implementation of the policy. The space around religion and government is fraught with legitimate concerns that people of faith and non-faith have. Additional concerns like sunshine law, does that apply to records created by the chaplains in the line of their work? Are they going to agree to that? Are you going to require that? Do students have to consent as well, or can parents force their kids to go to see chaplains? So there's just a few. I'll leave you with that, and I'll drop this letter with the secretary. Thank you so much.
Mr. Melendez, your address.
Mr. Boyd, one of them was the NIL. Do we have any athletes that are potentially going to receive some of that money this year? And is that a contract directly with the student and the company? Because I know it's different in college because we're all over 18, but they're technically, I mean, how does that work? I mean, I know it's a state law. But
I'll go ahead and address NIL, if it's okay, Mr. Boyd, and
Yes, sir.
feel free to jump in as you see fit. So, the name, image, likeness rule that was passed by FHSAA and then codified by the State Board of Education is an agreement that takes place between parents, their child, and outside entities. We have no responsibility, liability, culpability related to NIL and any sort of contract that may be worked out between a parent and an outside entity. We do not seek NIL deals for students. We are not to collaborate with outside entities related to NIL. And these are agreements that ultimately will take place between parents, students, and local businesses. We will out and out reject any sort of unilateral offer that would be construed as NIL for a particular school. That's not part of NIL. If somebody were to approach the school about a deal for an entire team, that is, again, something between parents and students. So the other thing that I think is important to mention is that if you look at other states that actually have NIL, namely Georgia, and most states do have NIL policies. If you look at Georgia, there are 35 high school students that have an NIL deal in the entire state of Georgia. 35. Again, this is really one of those things where, yes, we need a policy. We need the policy to go ahead and essentially ensure that we're complying with the state board rule. But these are deals that exist between parents and their students and outside entities, and not the school.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Arguello, you're recognized.
I will be taking contracts in advance of my son playing fullback for the 49ers, if anybody's out there watching and has interest at this stage. I wanted to speak in support of the chaplains program. I think that this is an incredibly valuable opportunity for us to expand where our society is clearly needing help. I like the way that the policy is headed, and certainly I hope that everyone supports it.
Ms. Castillo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Team. This is more of a procedural question because I don't think it's ever happened where I would like to pull one item from this policy before I approve it. I personally would like to have more conversation with our attorney as well as Mr. Williamson. I would like to have a little bit more conversation regarding this particular policy, policy 3.81. So are we able to approve the policies without this one if I personally want to have more discussion before I approve this? Can we pull one policy?
That has been done before in multiple rulemaking cycles.
Thank you. Team, I would personally like to pull this before approving the rest of the policies, before I approve the entire rulemaking cycle.
Which policy?
3.81.
Which is?
I don't have it.
3.81, school chaplains.
Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm gonna go back and forth, I got two more things I forgot. The Code of Student Conduct has a lot of changes and streamlining things. I would like for, the Safety and Security Committee to be able to preview that as well. Because, I know some of these things are mandatory things that are issued by the state statutes, but I'm kind of really reading it. It even has like step 1, step 2, and how to appeal, or if you have an issue. I would love for the Safety Committee to kind of give its recommendations on, because it's such a drastic change. And what would basically said strike all the code of conduct and kind of rewriting it again. So I just think that since we have the committee, it's good for them to kind of give their input as well.
Was this in regards to the Code of Student Conduct?
Yes, I think it's like the final 2 items. I don't need to strike it, I can still kind of let it go. But, because this is what, vote number 1, I think there's like 3 votes total before it becomes codified. So I would just, so I guess before the next vote, I mean, I don't have to strike it either, like before the next vote, have the safety and security committee look at it and give its revision. The only problem is if they revise it, then we have to start the calendar all over again.
This is the final vote in the Code of Student Conduct. If the Code of Student Conduct is not approved tonight, it will revert back to last year's Code of Student Conduct until such time as the school district approves the new one, which is statutorily compliant. I do remind, however, that the school board can come back at any time to amend the policy or to amend the Code of Student Conduct.
I have a light for Mr. Arguello. Can I recognize him?
Yes, yeah, well, I decided, thank you. Yes.
Mr. Arguello,
I mean, we've been, these policies have been already in the works for a while, so now it's procedural. I think that they have a chance a year to go through and look at these. Further, I think our district made it very clear. The governor came to our school came to Toho High School. The superintendent was there, expressed his support for the program full-heartedly. For us now, it has not been mentioned with any problem as of late. Now when we're in our final voting stage to speak out against it, I mean, it's kind of like a trick of pulling the rug out from underneath the community. We haven't had a single community member come out and speak against it throughout all the stages so far. So this is the last meeting. We've had one person from Oviedo come and speak out against it. Our community is, in terms of all the people that I've spoken about, have been in support of the program, have liked the program. Our superintendent is for the program. It was a very public support for the program. Now we're gonna take it away from the public at the last minute. I don't think that that's fair. You had multiple meetings in which you could have said that you had a problem with it. So you're catering to a member who's not a member of the community and forsaking the members of our community in Osceola County. It's very unfair in my opinion.
Mr. Arguello, Ms. Ramsey, I'm going to take a point of privilege for a minute because I don't have a light. I too have concerns over this, and it is because we had some emails come today. I don't know if you've checked your email yet or not this afternoon, Mr. Arguello, but there was one of very much concerning to me that came in regards to this. And so I too agree with Ms. Castillo that I need more time to make a decision after having the concerns that were brought to me, the questions that were brought to me today. They hadn't come before. I hadn't had an opportunity to think about these things, think about the implications regarding First Amendment, regarding federal litigation that we could receive if we were to approve this as it is today. So that is where I stand as well. Mr. Ramsey, you are recognized.
I am actually in full support of 3.81 school chaplains. So whether it's pulled to be discussed later or not, I'll still vote for it.
Thank you. Mr. Arguello, you're recognized.
I'll cede to this.
Mr. Melendez, you're
Yeah,
recognized.
and again, I'm trying to be consistent as possible. I'm against it for procedural purposes. The fact that we have, because I was told by Dr. Allen that we were gonna have a committee together of community members that we should appoint to review the policy. So for me to approve a policy and then create a committee thereafter is not really legitimate. It's not respecting the committee process. And I really believe in that. And we talked about it during strategic planning. I know we haven't codified the strategic plan, but we were talking about, hey, getting buy-in for people, getting the community, being transparent. So I'm not saying I'm against this policy. I may end up voting for it, but I really want to respect the committee process. I had found the person that I wanted to appoint to it, and now I'm hearing that it's already codified, and what's the purpose of getting the committee together? You know, I mean, I hate to get emotional about that, but to me, I don't want to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And I want to have these committees actually not just be dog and pony shows. I actually want them to review the policy. I want to value their input. I want to hear what they have to say. And so for that reason, I'm going to favor not moving forward and actually have the committee review it and get their input before we make a final decision. And if that triggers a roll process all over again, then so be it. You know, we have to respect the committee process.
According to Mr. Boyd, we could pull one item, individual items. Mr. Arguello, you are recognized.
Yeah, I mean, but there was no concern at all. When was the last meeting, Dr. Boyd?
Well, thanks for the promotion. I'm not a doctor. It has been years since we've had to pull a rule.
No,
from
when was the
rules.
last meeting where this was on the agenda for review?
In transparency, this draft was received in between the workshop and this public hearing, but was brought to this public hearing first tonight.
Okay, so, and what date was that?
Tonight,
No, what day was it? This was
that we received this. It was right after the last board meeting where we had the workshop that I did get the email from our consultants at Northeast Florida Educational Consortium
And when was that?
a month ago.
Okay, so nobody has had a concern for a month regarding the program. I think that it was the intention of the board members all along to vote this down. They just came here waiting to vote this down. They knew it was coming. They took the opportunity. They marshaled their little forces, and now they're voting this down. Dr. Shanoff, when was it that the governor came to our schools and promoted this?
Actually, I don't have that date handy, but I can find out.
I mean, was it a month ago?
No, sir, it was in the spring.
Yeah, 2 months, 3 months, it was in the spring, okay? So this was a long time. No one opened up a peep about it. If you knew you were gonna sabotage this program, then you should have done it a long time ago so that we could have a valid discussion. Mr. Melendez says that he likes the committee process. Well, we have forsaken the committee process on multiple things which are more important than the committee process which wrote this rule, which is provided to us pretty much by the state. So the ESE committee, that's in shambles, right? We have 100 different committees where we haven't had new members be put on those committees or reviewed in a year, maybe, right? But this particular one, this one we have to go and do a specific way. The governor came to our schools, promoted it. Not one school board member opened a peep about it. No one said anything about it. No one said anything about it at all, right? In the spring. It went through the process. We knew it was coming. A gentleman from Oviedo comes to say, I don't like it. And all of a sudden, all the school board members are aligned in saying that they don't like it, with the exception of Mr. Ramsey. And not every citizen in Osceola County is not paying attention to this. This is to me, it's very blatant and obvious sinking of a program that the governor came and started here.
Thank you, Mr. Arguello. I'm going to take the point of privilege again. I take offense to the fact that you say this is an orchestrated effort by board members, because this is not. This is something that was brought to our attention today. I had 2 emails come this afternoon to me, CC'd to you, to Mr. Melendez, Mr. Ramsey, Ms. Castillo, Dr. Shanoff. All of us received those emails. I didn't reach out to someone to send those emails to me. Those are emails that came to my inbox from our community that is stating a concern over this. And with that, it's brought to my attention to have some other eyes look at it, to think about what are the ramifications that we're going to have if we go forward with this, and how we do it in a way that we are making a safeguard for all of our students in this community. You say you want to provide a safe educational learning environment. I'm tired of you sitting here bullying all of us every single meeting, telling us that we are doing this, coming together to go against things that you believe in. I'm glad you believe in this. I believe in having faith as well, but I don't want to do it in a sense that has other people coming in and making a mockery of faith in general. With that, I agree with Ms. Castillo that I would like to pull this item and move it to another rulemaking cycle so that we can have further discussion. I would like to consult with our attorney on it. I know you don't agree with consulting with her, but I do. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adopt the rules, except for 3.81.
I have a motion by Ms. Castillo to adopt the rules removing 3.81. Do I have a second? Mr. Melendez, have you made a decision regarding
Yes, I made a decision, yes.
code of
I
student
wanna,
conduct? He had a
You're
code of student
prodding him?
conduct.
You're
The
prodding
code
him?
of student conduct, thank you.
no, it's regarding the code of student conduct, because I can
That's
set,
called prodding.
okay, whatever. Section 6 is the procedures for disciplinary action. That's the part that I wanna pull. The code assessors, which is in section 5, is okay, but the section 6 talks about parental steps and how to go through the process. Those are too many drastic changes that I would like for the committee to review. The section 5 that talks about the specific codes and what they mean is the part that does not need to be reviewed by the committee because that is driven by state statute. So the committee really can't change assessor code. But the committee can review the parental rights of parents to say, this is the procedures. Because this is totally different than what we have. This looks like Orange County's policy, actually. It doesn't look like our original Osceola. So since it's such a drastic change, out of courtesy for the Safety and Security Committee, which is the same reason why I'm going to reject the chaplain committee. It's not nobody contacted me, emailed me, did this whole charade thing. I'm only doing it on a procedural basis at the committee because I was asked to appoint somebody. I took the time to appoint somebody and that person didn't get to review it. So I would like to withdraw 3.81. And so if you're willing to amend your motion for 3.81 and also section 6, the procedures for disciplinary action, I'll second the motion.
Okay, just to confirm, you want us to also pull section 6 of the student conduct?
Yes, of the agenda here, which is the procedures for disciplinary action, but only section 6 only. The other items can.
I can amend my motion, Madam Chair, to accept the policies with a removal.
Madam Chair.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
I need clarity for staff here. Approving portions of the student code of conduct and not approving other portions of the student conduct are going to create a lot of confusion in our schools. So we either need to bring the code of conduct forward as a complete document or not. I can't expect school administrators to make a change to this, and this, and not to this, and expect that that's going to be followed with fidelity into a standard that will pass legal. So I just think that we're setting our teachers and our administrators up to fail if we try to do one section of the code of conduct but not another section of the code of conduct. It should be an all or nothing. That's just staff's opinion.
Let me ask a question. I don't want to get out of order. Because school already started, they already have the code of conduct. Which code of conduct did it have in front of them? The old one or the new one? The new one that we haven't approved. Because technically, school started.
Can you answer that?
Yes. So the matrix of consequences are within the same boundaries. They're set up differently, and the new code of conduct is asking them to follow different steps for the consequences. But within the parameters of what can be administered for student discipline, that is still the same, still within the same parameters. So we asked them, in the event that there were consequences to be given for disciplinary actions Monday or Tuesday, to use the new matrix, which again is in alignment with the previous code of conduct.
Oof. So we sent them something before we voted on it. So with that, wow. Well, then I'm gonna motion to, then I can't second the motion. I would have to revise the whole thing then. So, because that's not proper. You know, it's not proper to before the board even voted on something, to send something to parents that are aligned with a different standard. And even though most of them are alike, because I thought, again, that's why I was willing to do the matrix, because the matrix is defined by state statute. We have to align the matrix with the state statute in order to deal with the reporting requirements. On our own internal procedures on how we tell parents to file a complaint in the appeals process, that's on us. And if we're going to be changing that, that is the purpose of the Safety and Security Committee, is to review that, and so that way we can have parental input on what those changes should be. So I'm okay with keeping the matrix as is, because we're in there. I still want to separate it. I know that's the superintendent's recommendation, and I appreciate his recommendation. As a board member, I have the authority to make a final say. I still would like to go ahead and do that separation, because the matrix should not change.
Mr. Miller, just if I may, specifically, I was speaking to the matrix of consequences. Any other changes in policy would not be followed that is within the code of conduct until the board's action. It's just to make that delineation clear. The matrix of consequences would be consistent within last year's boundaries. Any other changes to the code of conduct would not be administered until this body votes upon it.
Right, so if that's the case, then, I'd rather than strike it down, go with what we have, and then make the modifications, because to me, that's just the right way of doing it. Because I'm already looking at it, and there's some things that I would like to change, not in the matrix, but in the steps that parents have, and how we formulate that conversation. So so that's it. So either if you want to do it all, then I'm going to vote no against it. If you want to separate it, I'll be willing to separate it and have that vote.
Mr. Arguello, you recognize?
Yeah, just so that everybody is clear, those emails came at 4:30 and 5 p.m., right? And it's intentional, that's how it works. Like, we get these emails from some people who have a special interest involved, and then they send an email and so on. That's called an excuse in which you can hang your hat on. It's not a way to develop policy. By the way, we get emails all the time from parents about a variety of different things. Some of you don't look at those or consider those at all, but this one is the all-important pair of emails from special interest groups that are against this program. So, in case you haven't noticed, we have a ton of issues at our schools, which just may be aided by a chaplain's program. And the parents are the ones that are in charge. Here you are telling parents that they can't make the decision for their own children because the parent has to sign off. They give the permission. The parent gives permission for students to be involved. So it's in the parents' hands. So all we're doing is allowing access in the time that the parents entrust the students to us. Any parent can say, no, I don't want my child to be involved. Let them go to a regular guidance counselor. Or there are some parents that might say, yeah, absolutely, I would love for my child to go and speak to the chaplain. So all you're doing is telling parents, no, we know that our kids need come at a little bit of extra, a little bit more profundity involved there, but we're not going to provide it. And you guys allow the governor to come make a big show about the program, our superintendent to get up on stage with the governor and talk about that this program is great. He said in his own statement, he has seen how this program benefits kids. But you all know, what? Oh no, this program, I got an email at 4:35 and at 5:01 that said I should not do that. I was so concerned. There's 100 different legal things that have happened over the past several months. And you guys have no impact. It means nothing to you whatsoever. You've received dozens of emails about different issues. Those mean nothing to you. That God forbid we provide a chaplain service, which is elective by the parents. But that's no good. Don't pretend like this is anything but you guys sinking the program for your own ideological perspectives. It has nothing to do with protecting our kids. None of you have had any interest at all in protecting our kids at all since I've been here. So this is the way that you protect kids for the first time. It's an insult to the intelligence of everyone in this community.
Thank you, Mr. Arguello. I will make a statement that I do check my emails. I do respond to my emails. There is a member in this audience right now that I won't call out that doesn't agree with me often in the way I vote and agrees with you often and thanked me for responding to an email in the past because I was the only board member that responded at that time. And it was something that I voted against, but they thanked me because I took the time to read their email, to respond to them because I do take my job seriously and I do my homework. Thank you.
Right.
Mr. Ramsey, you are recognized.
So if I understand this correctly, we can still vote on the student code of conduct and amend it later, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I forgot what we're even voting on now.
I need a motion on how we're gonna vote on this item.
You have one already.
I don't,
I got a motion, but there's no second. There's no
Yeah,
second.
I guess there was a point where she was thinking about amending the code of student conduct for just isolating out section 6.
So for clarity, the motion dies.
On the table right now, the motion that I have is Ms. Castillo motion to approve the item polling policy number 3.81 only. That is the motion on the floor right now.
do I have a second on that motion? Seeing no second, that motion dies. Do I have a different motion?
I motion to approve the rules as submitted, except for Rule 3.81, and also the Code of Student Conduct, just specifically Section 6, the procedures for disciplinary action.
I have a motion to approve the items in front of us with removing 3.81 for further discussion and item 6 of the disciplinary
The procedures for disciplinary action.
procedures for disciplinary action. Do I have a second?
This is what we said was not gonna work for the superintendent.
Seeing no second, that
Nope.
motion.
Oh wait, I didn't say I wasn't gonna second it. I just wanted to clarify, this is what the superintendent said that he did not want to happen. So, I'm gonna second it.
I have a motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Ms. Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-2. With that, our public hearing for rulemaking cycle has concluded.
1 second, please.
Yep.
Mr. Boyd, if possible, after the meeting tomorrow or something, if I could get with you for correct verbiage on the motion, please. Thank you.
Certainly.
Ms. Cato, may I just seek clarification? It's my understanding, and I just want clarification from this board, that when it comes to the Code of Student Conduct, all of the Code of Student Conduct has been approved except for the section regarding parent notifications, and that section will remain as the section from last year.
Correct, yeah, the procedures for disciplinary action are correct. Yes, but all the matrices, all the categorizations, and everything else, with the new one. And then also, if it can get forwarded to the Safety and Security Committee so they can review it, and we can come back to the board.
Ms. Corin, I have a question. We have 2 lights on now. This motion, this has been voted on.
That is correct. At this point, the agenda item would be complete.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. We
Chair,
are,
just a matter of clarification. I need some clarification for staff. We had a committee convene for the Code of Conduct. Board Member Melendez is asking that we have the Safety and Security Committee convene to go over that area of the Code of Conduct. Do you want us to reconvene the other committee as well that worked on the Code of Conduct? Okay, thank you.
I don't have a problem.
I mean, the attorney said that the matter was closed. The superintendent gets a chance to clarify, which is a good clarification, which is the same line I was gonna go to next. The idea that then you don't honor the light system is BS. It's just, you pick and choose, okay?
thank you, Mr. Aguayo.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for keeping it in
We
order,
are
nice and
now
tidy.
moving on to agenda modifications 5.01. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, we're gonna, after speaking with Board Member Melendez, we're actually gonna remove 1901.
It's being pulled.
No, just remove,
Got it.
all
New
rules
business.
altogether.
Thank you. Any others, Dr. Shannon?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Melendez?
904, 1401, 1402, and 1501.
9.04, 14.01, 14.02,
Yep, and 15.01.
15.01. Mr. Arguello?
None.
Ms. Castillo?
None.
Mr. Ramsey?
None.
Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda as submitted with pulling items 9.04, 1401, 1402, and 1501.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Castillo and a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. With that, we are on to 9.04.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is more for because I had a discussion with staff. I just kind of want everyone to know about what I was discussing with them. At the end of every construction project that's completed, there's a dedicated audit, a closeout audit, done about 6 months from there, to determine what exactly are the parameters of the construction audit. And has there anything been gleaned from that? From a continuous improvement model of hey, we found this out and moving forward and what has changed. Because what's the difference between a construction audit and like a regular traditional financial audit, or what are they actually looking for?
Good evening. So for every project over $2 million, our policy is to do a construction audit. So we typically pay applications. We give them all of the documents, the entire GMB, all of the pay applications, any changes, contingency requests, the whole gamut. They would audit everything, including even the reimbursement that goes to the contractors. What they would do is financially look through processes. Did we follow state procurement processes? They would also look at the actual finances to see if all of the backup was correct, even though we've gone through 5-6 different people before we paid it, and sometimes they do pick up. This you can pay for this ruler, but you didn't, or you paid for the ruler, but you shouldn't have, so we get the money back. So a lot of times you would see probably those reports do come before the board at every quarter. I think, Sarah, we bring.
Whenever one's completed.
Whenever one's completed, we put them on the agenda as an audit report. And then typically you would see us get money back, which goes into the finances that we would get back from the contractors as well, if we ever overpaid, which is usually very minuscule compared to the size of the project, but we get it all, and everything is posted. All of those are also available on our websites for people to review, as well as our finances.
Great, okay, motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Ms. Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve item 12.01.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Castillo, a second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.01.
Motion approved.
I have a motion by Mr. Melendez,
Second.
a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 14.01, Mr. Melendez, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you to the teachers union and everyone involved in negotiating. Thank you, Mr. Boyd, not Dr. Boyd, maybe one day. But I can't tell you how much I appreciate seeing everybody work together. I'm that collaborative board member. I love committees. I love people's input and things like that. And the fact that, the teachers union was present in a new teacher orientation program, and Dr. Shanoff gave her the opportunity to address the members. And so I'm excited. There's other counties, and I don't want to name them, but some of them are still in impasse. They're still kind of going at each other's throat. And the fact that we're done early, the teachers can get paid quicker. Again, this is a testament to Dr. Shanoff, staff, and the teachers union. I just want to say thank you for working together. And it's nice seeing you guys again. Keep showing up to the board meetings like that. And just, I'm really excited. So I just want to acknowledge the hard work that was done. With that, I motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 14.02, Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
Another thing.
We had a public speaker.
I was gonna just do it at the end of 14.03 if that's okay, because you had put both of those together.
I'm sorry.
And in 1402, I also want to applaud, Dr. Shanoff for combining the admin unit with the non-bargaining unit. Because before we used to separate the two, and it created a little bit of leverage points between one unit versus the admin. And I really didn't like that idea of pitting people that are unnecessarily. So I like the fact that if non-bargaining is combined with admin, we're all in the ship together. And I really appreciate that. As a matter of fact, when I look at all these agreements, a lot of them have the same 4% across the board. It's not like, okay, one unit only gets 2, the other unit gets 4. And I just want to say, I really see admin, and I was old school about this. I was like, no, admin eats last, But to be honest with you, the past couple years, I've seen the dedication of these admin professionals. Again, I was at 5 o'clock in the morning at the transportation center, and they're out there sign waving. I know Dr. Allen, we may not agree on everything, but he gets the phone calls late at night, hey, there's a safety violation, and same thing with Lester Yates, and even the assistant superintendent, you guys get the notification. So to be honest with you, I think that's the best thing that Dr. Shanoff has recommended, is just the combining of it and not separating it, and we're all as one, the best that we can. And so I'm basically getting a motion to approve, but I just want to say that moving forward, I really like the collaborative environment that's being created in this administration. And I just wanted to publicly acknowledge the hard work and dedication that admin does to go above and beyond to make sure our schools are ready. Because we're constantly praising our teachers, and I love our teachers, but I tell you what, I really have come to appreciate the amount of commitment that admin does beyond school hours. And with that, I'm never gonna treat you guys differently again. I basically apologize for doing that before in the past, and but we learned. That's part of continuous improvement. And so with that, I'm gonna happily motion for motion two.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 14.03.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Castillo, a second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. With that, we have public comment by Ms. Moody.
Hello, Board. I am Janet Moody. I am the president of the Osceola County Education Association. And approximately a year ago, I took this position, and it was a new position for me. It was leaving the classroom and what I dearly loved. But I thought I could bring change to an organization that represents the educators, almost 7,000 of us in this district. And along the way, I even began representing people like Dave Sharman, who somehow knows every month when I have a meeting with Dr. Shanoff, and he always says, go in and ask him for this. So, it's just kind of something that we do. I want to say that this year OCEA is celebrating their 50th anniversary. So that's 50 years in this school district, and Mr. Kaufman's dad was the first president of the Osceola County Education Association. So that's, and we've actually had board superintendents, Dr. Blaine Muse, he was a president of the Osceola County Education Association. So I have a lot of shoes to fill when I say that I stand here before you. This past year, I have been privileged to serve more than 200 meals to educators in this district, and there were only 196 days in the school year. So guess how I did that? Just guess. I've been very busy. We have represented many causes. I've had the privilege of working with everyone you see here at some point in time this year, and it has been I won't always say it's been fun, but I can say that every time that I have come, Mr. Melendez, I have never yelled, not once. I have always come with solutions because I want to address the needs of our employees so that we can continue to attract and retain educators. As of this morning, we have a higher membership than we've had in more than a year. And whenever you say that some politicians set out to bust unions, it took a toll on us last year, but to say that this year we have recovered and we are at higher numbers than we've ever did, I can't help but to thank the people who support me and the fact that all of you have made it so that I can do my job and I don't have to come before a board meeting and publicize, because my mom taught me that you praise publicly and you criticize privately. And so I have operated from that standpoint within this union, and I have not come before this board to drag negative through. We don't need that. We need a collaborative culture, and I hope that that's what I've provided. I know that this year Mr. Boyd and I have worked really hard along with his bargaining team and my bargaining team, and sometimes it wasn't pretty, was it? But we got the work done, and we brought contracts that you guys have approved, and last week we had the highest amount of bargaining unit members voting in the contract, which means we have full engagement of the employees in this district. They are watching us, and they are watching you to see how well we work together, and so I appreciate that you have approved this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion approved 1404.
So it's 14.03 that we already voted on, which is the question I asked before. We had already voted on that. That was the question I asked before in regards to the rulemaking cycle. That was something we already voted on.
It is, so you know, I would just say that. We can just say that.
Okay.
Second. 14.04. Second. I have a motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Ms. Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 14.05.
Motion approved.
I have a motion by Mr. Melendez,
Second.
a second by Mr. Ramsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes for 15.01. Mr. Melendez?
Yes, I'm gonna motion to approve, but one thing that I wanted to make clear, because, I spoke with staff, and obviously board members, I can't share that conversation I had with them, that this is, discretionary at each school. So if a school wants to do the extended day, currently as is, they can. But only if they want to decide to outsource it, then they can use one of these peer-to-peer vendors. So I just wanna make sure, because when I first read it, it didn't really describe that. It sounded like we were just outsourcing extended day completely. I just wanted to make the record clear that the schools can make that individual decision. And so we're not moving, for the public, we're not moving out extended day automatically from our own in-house staff. This is optional. And I believe, if I'm standing correct, that these in-house, these people that are bidding, you also don't see the price. What I was told was that they have to also honor the price that we pay for extended day. So if we pay $40 a week, I don't know what it is, because my son's not in elementary school anymore, whatever it is, these people can't charge above and beyond. Is that correct? Is that in there? They can't charge above and beyond what we would normally charge. So it's not like, hey, it's a private company, they can charge $100 a week. The district is charging only 40, that they have to honor that price. So I just want to make that clear for the public. Is that right, Mr. Hennessy?
That's correct.
And again, Honda ends across. Yeah, I just want to make sure, because sometimes I hear things and I may not be articulating it the same way. I just want to make sure we're making that clear. So with that, I motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Ms. Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 16.01.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Castillo, a second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. We are now at public comment. I have Mr. Rivera.
Can I get skipped?
I'm sorry?
Can I get skipped on the list?
We only have one other, so you have 3 minutes then. Ms. Kim Castro-Stevens.
Kim Castro-Stevens, 640 Brighton Place, Kissimmee, Florida, 34744. Since he has left, I will be the voice of saying I disagree with the chaplain in the schools. A few years ago, we had a group that tried to come in with someone who was a Satan chaplain type person to give coloring books to our students. Our board turned it down because we can't do that. So with this chaplain program, are we telling they can't come in? Are we being selective on who we are allowing in? I go to church. I want my children to have that ability, but I don't want someone preaching to my children. I want that separation between what they get at school and what they get at home. And if we can't guarantee that, what are we doing? We can't mix the two. That's why we have separation of church and state. Thank you.
Mr. Rivera. Hope you're ready. We don't have anyone else.
Running out of time.
Louis Rivera, 3078 Point Place Avenue, Kissimmee, Florida. First of all, thank you, Dr. Allen, today for our discussions. Really appreciate it. Today, since I have to address the superintendent and the chairwoman, I'll say the same way I welcome Dr. Shanoff is the same way I would welcome any new board member. So, this is what I want to share that you missed. Never call someone melodramatic in board meetings. It's not a good thing to do, right? May 19th, dozens of middle school students spoke against the Guardian program. And one of the board members stopped the public comment to say they're aware of the new law being signed, but hadn't made a decision on the matter, kind of like the lockdown law. And SRO slammed one of students' friends in school. Parents were reading books on how to get blowjobs. Parents were reciting explicit lyrics through music playing at school events. Kids playing with toy guns in schools, and teachers did not do anything about it. 150 phone calls from one school to the sheriff's office and one alert sent out to parents. an entire list of drama. You can't make this up. And the only reason some parents knew about this shit happening is because they attended these school board meetings. The most views I've seen, 2,100 views on an April 2023 meeting. The least 90 views for a workshop. 69,000 students, 98 languages, 91% grade graduation rate. Now, I'm not good at math, so I challenge you guys. Sum up the numbers, do some type of calculation, and tell us why you only have less than 1% viewing these YouTube videos. Here's another question. If phones were so disruptive and intrusive and needed to be removed to make an environment safer and more productive, then why didn't you use the phones to your advantage? I bet if you sent a link to all those students that their phones were taken away next semester, that you would have earned their attention and gotten more views and messages sent out more than ever. Now they can't even report crimes or suspicious activities. That 4 to 5 Florida poster is just a beautiful poster. You're making decisions and sharing them without allowing parent and student views. Every parent, administrator, teacher, and student I've personally asked, they say, Louis, they don't want you to go to meetings. They don't want you to have a voice. Am I wrong? Prove me I'm wrong. You guys made a decision about the cell phone policy, and every one of you guys agreed upon it, but we didn't have a voice about it. Go to a teacher intake, HB 1473. Be like, what's that? Well, that's the new lockdown law that was in place. You got new laws, new school year, new board member. All the non-district staff has answered, I don't know, when I asked them about these new lockdown measures. You need to do a better job of communicating, a better job of communicating with the school, parents, and students. You want to hear one more dumb rule, my kid told me today? You have to walk on the sidewalk. You can't run on the sidewalk. You have to walk on it if you're doing cross country. How does that make sense? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. With that, we are on to attorney comments, Ms. Warren.
Good evening. The one attorney comment that I did want to point out is that we did do a review last week of the allegations that Dr. Shanoff and I had received emails but had not responded to them. In review of that information, it was determined that the emails were not sent to us. They were sent to an alternative email address, and Mr. Thorne did review our email server, and no emails from that individual were received by either Dr. Shanoff prior to that meeting.
Thank you. And the emails, the concern that he had has now been addressed as well.
The public records request has been fulfilled, yes.
Thank you. Any other attorney comments? Sorry, Mr. Melendez.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for the one. That is.
No, that was strictly.
You should, okay, I was just
The
making
board
sure.
member committee report, I had a committee report.
Okay, we are on to committee reports. Mr. Melendez, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Central Florida School Boards Association got together and we had a meeting in downtown Orlando. And part of the agenda was twofold. One was, it's called Safe Schools for Alex.org. You know, it's kind of like the information that we get pulled for expulsion hearings, but they have it throughout the whole state of Florida all put together. But they also put together crime statistics in the county too. So it's all in one spot. So the whole goal of it was, can we find that data as board members or members of the public? It's about the fact that it's a one-stop shop. So you can see the number of expulsions that have been done, the different categoricals, the number of homicides in the district and things like that. So it's all pulled together in one. And the only issue is that it lags in data, so it doesn't have the most recent year. Because when the school district does its reporting to the state, you have to like finalize it first before it gets pulled into your database. But when we started looking at it, it was very helpful. I mean, every board member there started looking at it. As soon as they said the website, we started looking at Osceola. I looked at Osceola County, obviously, and I was drilling down on the different, they have like charts too, and it has a 5-year rolling average. So now, the hard part they said is now that the assessor categories are changing, you can't always take that for what it is. Because if the coding for bullying was one code, now it's another code, so it's kind of hard to do that. So you have to do like a little bit of math to kind of put them together. But their goal is, moving forward, you can kind of compare, you know, how many issues that we've had going forward. So that's something that I'd encourage all board members to like kind of play with it, because they said they're on version 2.0. They would like to do maybe version 3.0, and they need board member input because people had changed version 1 to 2. So in order for it to go from 2 to 3, you gotta play with the app first and they'll make changes. And they said there is a difference between the phone app and the desktop. So when you look at the phone, it may not have all the features that you have on the desktop. And then the other thing was, we're already doing it here, but they gave a presentation on stop-arm cameras. It is like a statewide issue. I mean, they showed video after video of cars blowing by the stop signs when it's going out there, and they're just like, yeah, something needs to get done. And they did mention the fact that the state statute allows for one entity to give tickets for all. Like say, for instance, the sheriff. You know, if we have, stop armed cameras stopping somebody in St. Cloud, we don't have to get the St. Cloud PD to review it and have their own policy versus KPD. We're allowed to have one person be the overseer or the person that actually ultimately writes that ticket. Then I spoke to Ms. Horn. She said we are currently working on Osceola County because we have stop arm cameras to do an interlocal agreement with the sheriff for the sheriff to be the ultimate person that previews all the tickets that get citation in the county. And but they did mention also it has to be publicized. So it can't be right away. We have to tell people, hey, we're gonna be potentially ticking you. There has to be a time frame that passes. And so there's, I don't know, maybe Sarah can, I've been doing her legal work for her, but that's basically what that means. And also too, they said that the revenue from it can also be used for the transportation department itself. So when we do it, they called it a recruitment and retention stipend. So if we're having trouble recruiting bus drivers, we're allowed to, by law, use that money to do incentive programs to recruit bus drivers to come in. So that was
Great.
I'm not a lawyer, but I guess I play one on TV. But I listened, and so that was basically the report.
Thank you, Mr. Melendez. Any other board member committee reports? With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Stop.